The micro-universe can be creepy and beautiful at the same time. For we enter into the world of the micro-worlds. A world that we may not see holds a mysterious place that can be creepy. On this episode, we explore the unseen worlds of tiny living organisms that can be mesmerizing and misunderstood. So sit back, chill on your couch, buckle up, because it's going to be a ride into the creepiest micro worlds on this second episode of The Creepiest Things. We first start out with fresh water, such as this large river located in Ohio. A sample is taken by a dropper around abundant algae. Of course, our first micro-world exploration can't be simple enough, such as these vibrant living algae. These moving green rice-shaped specimens are highly responsible for a good percentage of our world's oxygen. This crescent-shaped algae is very interesting with its emerald green colors. And the tiny little creature we're looking for is the ciliate. There is more varieties we will explore in this video. Besides just ciliates in this abundant pond, you can already see there is a whole variety of micro-life to explore, thousands of different species to behold, a world unseen. This micro creature is known as the amoeba. Our second subject would be like a glittery, creepy blob moving about, like an unsettling liquid gooey monster in the micro world. The way they eat is simply engulfing their prey, like you see here. Of course, this isn't a sci-fi movie, but the real thing, and thank God that this creature only exists in the micro world. Even though they can seem creepy in their oozing appearance, their sparkling cellular structures make them beautifully like shining moving gems. Our next micro creature is known as the Stentor caeruleus, one of the biggest single-celled organisms on Earth. This ciliate is a titan compared to other ciliates in the freshwater world. They adorn a crown of moving ciliate hairs that draw food to them and aid them in locomotion. The Stentor caeruleus is very mobile, swimming through its vast watery world, looking more like a living bluish-green glass vase searching for areas of food sources. These ciliates seem to group together in a large mass. Perhaps they're all attracted to the same adjacent areas of a good food source, like huge crowds of people gathering into a good barbecue. This ciliate looks a lot like a mini whale traversing along the way to the next destination. Its strange shape aids it specifically to its survival, but looking a lot like a strange whale with waving cilia hairs along the sides of its body, it moves about in search of sustenance. Like a transparent mini-submarine, the locomotion of its movements looks very mesmerizing to microbiologists' eyes. In our next micro-world journey, all living things do have an end, and all living things will eventually die. Even in the micro-worlds, all microorganisms experience their little ends, just like any other creature that will eventually meet its demise, whether it is natural or a freak accident. All living things will experience it. We have two rotifers. The one on the left is healthy, but the one on the right has a type of kidney-shaped microbes growing inside of it. These little invaders has completely engulfed the inside of this rotifer, and sadly, its survival will eventually come to an end. This poor Stentor caeruleus gets itself caught up on something, and in a panic to get away, it tears itself open. All its contents spills out into the vast open, only for the little cleanup crews to eat the contents up. These mini cleanup microbe ciliates is very important in the micro worlds, for they help keep things clean in the watery environments. As long as the nucleus of this once living Stentor caeruleus is intact, it will grow its body back. This pinky seems to explode. Its inner structure spills out, and its outer walls melt away. In the next clips, more ciliates meet their melting end. Observe the events. This flat worm meets its end with a hungry mosquito larvae munching it up. We observe one more ciliate passing away, and it disintegrates, spilling its contents out. Now we switch subjects onto land. Even micro-life can be found here, such as this moss on this tree. This moss ciliate swims around freely, with its flowing cilia hairs moving about. Besides tardigrades or water bears living in this mossy world, these ciliates thrive also feeding on the nutrients that the moss offers. Back into the watery worlds, this marine environment has living algae and a round-looking ciliate and well-known phytoplankton. In fresh water, such as ponds and lakes, round type of ciliates are also found. This one is a water mite. This one is round like a ball with flailing legs. It looks pretty funny spinning around in its watery environment. Our next micro creatures are snails of two types. Here you see marine types of sea snails in their larvae stage. To help aid them get around, they have waving cilia, as you see here. They can extend or withdraw the cilia willfully whenever needed. The other type of a micro snail larvae is a freshwater snail. Here, it feeds on old vegetation, consuming bits of it as it moves along. It has a moving tongue with teeth on it. It draws up any dead vegetation, or algae like a miniature vacuum cleaner. You can see it in action due to the transparency of the snail larvae. And if you draw in closer, there appears to be some type of freshwater anemones attached to its shell. As cute and innocent this baby snail seems to be, It is known all too well to be an aquarium pest, hard to get rid of as adults. But in its natural environment, its heartbeat is something to behold through its transparent shell. Moving on to the next subject of microorganisms. Food is a very important part of their universe also, such this Drapernaldia foraging around. The micro-universe is like a living galaxy of living stars moving about, shining and shimmering in the special lighting of the microscope. We get a close look at this Paramecium bursaria under that special lighting with its green shimmering glow. After it has fed, you can see it creates a glittery glowing effect, like some type of light show shimmering away. Our next feeding subjects are known as the stentor polaris. As it is longer than the stentor caeruleus, its ciliate hairs rotate, drawing in food into its vortex. This hungry stentor polymorphous feeds happily on slug mucus, like sucking in gel balls in a milk tea latte. This rotifer happily feeds, rotating its cilia hairs to draw in food. Like inner jaws, you can see them munching, opening and closing. Interesting enough, this rotifer has two eye spots, allowing it to see changes in light. They're a lot like photoreceptors. You can see them here. Perhaps they can detect ultraviolet light in various prey scientists believe which can appear in their photoreceptors. These group of rotifers feed happily in company in a convenient algae plume. Our next microbe beasts are commonly known as the Hydra siemens. They are a brilliant green, mainly in colors, and could also be in golden orange hues also. The Hydra can live almost eternally due to its abilities to renew and make copies of themselves, such as this Hydra you see here. And by making copies of oneself, why worry about having a partner to help you reproduce? Hydras are simply asexual and can just regrow new buds along their trunks of their bodies, and those buds become exact clones of themselves. They use those tentacles to catch prey. They are sticky with stinging micro harpoons to stun their catch. This one catches a micro flea and pulls it in. Hydras hunt while waiting for their prey to simply swim by and brush along their sticky, stinging tentacles. Of course, among the Hydra species, this orange one has tiny little crustacean-like micro creatures crawling all over them. doesn't seem to bother this hydra much, and it just continues to go about its simple, relaxing life. This is known as a symbiotic relationship where two different species benefit off of one another for a better survival. However, like annoying roommates, these little critters could sometimes irritate their large hydra home partner, and the hydra just simply retracts itself in. Moving on to our next chapter inside of the micro worlds, we look at what you get out of a drop of ocean water. Let's take a look. The sea has a bountiful amount of microlife, from single-celled organisms to marine worm larvae to phytoplankton. Here's a crustacean in larvae form. Besides many microcrustaceans in the vast ocean, there are also living microorganisms that are green and come in various shapes. This elegant twisting and turning algae organism seems like it is dancing through the water. Its green glass-like body makes it look a lot like living art. Very interesting microalgae organisms are these worm-looking euglena. At a closer look at these euglena, you can see a reddish-brown eye spot near the tip of their front ends. This allows these predatory algae to detect sources of light. Besides getting their energy from the sunlight, they also prey on other microorganisms. This stentor lengthens its body to feed on plankton and oceanic debris. Its mouth is also aligned with moving cilia to draw in its food. It lengthens its body for better reach, and when it is done, it simply swims off to its next feeding destination. Stentors come in many varieties. These next ones look a lot like living plants than animals, and you see them feeding, drawing in food into their open mouths. Here with our next micro-creepy critter is this micro-crustacean feeding happily on some plant debris. If you observe the middle section closely, you can see that it is moving back and forth. What's really going on is that you're seeing the digestion of this micro-critter in action. Here, it feeds on more tasty plant debris, even dead fish debris or debris off of living things. And as digesting your last good meal in your tummy, this also leads to another thing that ends up out from the other side of this critter's butt. This round glop is actually its poop, and as always making a good bowel movement, it pops it out like a micro Pez dispenser. These single-cellular ciliates are known as Urocentrum turbo, and we're not talking about a part that goes into a car. These barrel-shaped micro-single-celled organisms spin relentlessly. The reason why they do so is to draw in food towards themselves. Moving on to our next micro-subjects are the microworm, ciliates, and microworms. This worm, like ciliates, swims with no worries, eats freely, and doesn't fret over boundaries with predators. Here in the next clips are known as the various hungry vacuum worms. They feed on just about everything edible they come across. They also play an important role in keeping things clean in their environments. This flatworm is very resourceful due to its regenerative abilities. If it's cut in half, it can regrow its other end, and the other half can become another new worm. Vacuum worms can also regenerate if they're cut in 3 separate pieces. These 3 are a prime example on their different sizes you see here. And when they are on the move, their wiggly movements make them appear mesmerizing in its strange transparent bodies. You can see their organs inside, and the red polka dots along with their hairs make them appear even more whimsical. In the ocean, this worm larvae is a type of polychaete worm. You can even see its bristles along the side of its body. Moving on to our next creepy yet cute micro-creatures is the famous water bear. There are many types of species of water bears, scientifically known as tardigrades, These are the most resilient microorganisms to ever exist. Tardigrades are found just about anywhere as long as there is a water source, mainly in tree moss or mosses found on rocks. Mosses hold a lot of moisture, nutrients, and a great mini forest for these little guys, which makes an ideal comfy home for them to live in. Water bears could be found in various soils, ponds, lakes, even in environments so harsh, you think that they would easily perish, but not so. They have even survived coldest temperatures on Earth, to extreme vacuums of unoxidized places of outer space. It makes you wonder that there can be life on other planets that are harsh, low on oxygen, high on sulfur gases, or high on nitrogen even, and the water bear can definitely live in these environments if given a chance. Females and males have different number of claws, the males having less claws than the females. The females have 3 claws and the males have only 2, but scientists have got them 2 mixed up often also, though you should know the only way to tell is that you can see eggs inside the females. Tardigrades are known as the tiniest living animals on Earth, since they are microscopic. They feed on different varieties of moss plants, and why you find them mostly in various types of mosses. Moss plant cells look a lot like huge scrumptious balls of green orbs to this hungry water bear. It feeds constantly on them, like it's in a moss food heaven. As for their cute and strange appearance, they look like a cross between a worm and a bear with 8 legs. And less known about these creepy cute micro creatures, they are also called moss piglets since they eat mainly on moss cells. Our next subjects are known as the fearsome Dileptus. And here what you're seeing is one hunting down a worm like ciliate by harpooning it with its unique trunk like proboscis. The movements of this predatory micro creature can be quite erratic due to its jerky hunting motions. It is known to be one of the most fearsome micro-predator in this micro world. So what is known as the proboscis at the end of this microorganism's trunk is a type of harpoon that can cause its prey to become basically mush. Then the Dileptus comes and sucks up the spoils of its catch like slurping up a microbe smoothie. You can see it is a very voracious appetite, gulping this gloopy microbe up. Our second most fearsome micropredator is known as the Lacrimaria genus. It means swan tear. However, this micropredator you see here is actually a Dileptus. You can tell by the way it feeds, sucking its prey whole once it becomes a mushy mass. Lacrimaria and Dileptus look so much alike, you can get the two confused. The only difference in telling if it is a Lacrimaria is the way it stretches its long neck out. Such, for example, the erratic movements of this one hunting tiny microbes. It stretches its long, flexible neck out as if it were fishing out in the open. And the only difference between the Lacrimaria and the Dileptus is that Lacrimaria have moving cilia at the end of its proboscis. The Lacrimaria is also a voracious hunter, darting out like a crazy microbe psychopath on the verge of insanity. This Lacrimaria hunts and snags little ball-like microbes using its cilia and a strong suction. It stretches and searches to see if there are any available bulbs to feed upon. It almost seems frustrated when it doesn't get what it wants here. However, this one gets lucky finding a tasty microbe, sucking up the outer orb it's been yearning for. Once it has fed, it is satisfied with a tasty meal, retracting its long neck and unwinding down. Here, this one feeds and catches a tasty morsel, sucking it up like a vacuum cleaner. You can see the morsel go down its throat into its awaiting belly. To end this episode of the most creepiest micro worlds, we take one last look at the vast amount of species of microorganisms from salt water to fresh water, a hidden gem that is very important to the balance of the ecosystem.